嫌われたくない、一人になりたくない、そうやって自分の心を押し殺して、他人の顔色ばかり伺って、作り笑いを浮かべる毎日、そんな卑屈な生き方をしていて、天から預かった尊い命が喜ぶとでも思っているのか。バカを言っちゃいけない。いいか、よく聞きなさい。今日限り、無理な人付き合いなど、すっぱりと捨ててしまいなさい。おい、お前さん、そこへお座り。そして、わしの目をしっかり見なさい。逃げるんじゃない。自分の心から逃げるんじゃないぞ。そう、それでいい。わしには見えるぞ。お前さんの心の奥底に溜まった、どす黒いヘドロのような重たい疲れがな。それは肉体の疲れじゃない。魂の疲れだ。生きる力の消耗だ。毎日毎日、本当は会いたくもない人間に頭を下げ、興味もない話に相槌を打ち、嫌われたくない一心で、自分の言いたいことも飲み込んで、顔に愛想笑いの仮面を貼り付けている。夜、一人になった時、ふと涙が出そうになることはないか。朝、目が覚めた時、ああ、また一日が始まるのかと、鉛のような重さを感じないか。それはな、お前さんの魂が悲鳴を上げているんだ。もう嘘をつくのはやめてくれ。もう私をいじめないでくれと、泣き叫んでいるんだよ。どうだ、図星だろう。お前さんは優しい人間だ。それはわしが認めよう。人の痛みがわかり、空気を読み、誰かを傷つけまいと配慮できる、繊細な心を持っている。だがな、その優しさは、今のままでは本当の優しさじゃない。それは弱さだ。恐怖だ。一人になることへの恐怖。変なやつだと思われることへの恐怖。世間体という実体のない化け物への恐怖。そして何より、自分自身として生きることへの恐怖だ。いいか、よく聞きなさい。お前さんは、この広大無辺な宇宙から、かけがえのない命という力を与えられて、この世に生まれてきたんだ。お前さんという存在は、宇宙が何億年もかけて作り出した最高傑作なんだよ。その尊い命の力、生命のエネルギーを、くだらない世辞や、何の生産性もないうちの言い合いや、お前さんの心をすり減らすだけの人間関係に浪費して、それで人生が輝くわけがないだろう。それはまるで、底の抜けた柄杓で水を汲んでいるようなものだ。いくら注いでも、命のエネルギーがダダ漏れになっていく。それでは、いつまで経っても心は満たされない。いつまで経っても、幸せになどなれるはずがないんだ。人間にとって、最も罪深いことは何か知っているか。人を殺めることや、盗みを働くことはもちろん罪だ。だがな、それと同じくらい重い罪がある。それは、自分自身を粗末に扱うことだ。気乗りしない誘いにイエスということ。理不尽な扱いに、ヘラヘラと笑って耐えること。自分の尊厳を安売りすること。これは、お前さんの中に宿る命に対する冒涜なんだよ。目を覚ましなさい。今すぐにだ。人生というのはな、お前さんが思っているよりもずっと短いんだ。瞬きするような一瞬の出来事なんだよ。明日、お前さんの心臓が動いているという保証は、どこにもないんだ。その貴重な、二度と戻らない時間を、お前さんの魂を濁らせるような連中と関わることに使ってどうする。お前さんを軽んじ、利用し、不快にさせるような人間のために、なぜお前さんの命を切り売りするんだ。でも、付き合いを断ったら孤立してしまう。仲間外れにされたら生きていけないだと。孤立上等じゃないか。仲間外れ結構じゃないか。いいか。わしが長年、波乱万丈の人生の中で、数えきれないほどの人間の生き死にを見つめてきて、確信していることがある。それはな、群れなければ生きられない人間ほど、弱く、脆く、そして不幸であるということだ。見渡してみなさい。いつも群れて、誰かの噂話で盛り上がり、傷の舐め合いをしている連中を、彼らの顔に、真の幸福の輝きがあるか。目に、明日を切り開く力強い光があるか。ないだろう。彼らの目は死んでいる。彼らは互いに寄りかかり合って、倒れないように必死なだけだ。それは友情でも絆でもない。ただの弱者の馴れ合いだ。恐怖の共有だ。そんな腐った輪の中にいて、お前さんは安心か。本当に心が満たされているか。違うはずだ。 家に帰って一人になった時、どっと疲れが押し寄せ、虚しさが胸を締め付けるはずだ。ああ、今日も時間を無駄にしてしまった。あの時、なんであんなことを言ってしまったんだろうと、自己嫌悪に陥るはずだ。その心の声を無視するんじゃない。それはお前さんの本心が、必死にお前さんを救おうとして発している警報なんだよ。わしは今日、お前さんに、魂を根底から叩き直す、強烈な競争剤を打ち込みに来たんだ。それは淡々と生きよという教えだ。淡々と生きるというのは、冷酷な人間になれということではない。情を持たないロボットになれということでもない。勘違いするんじゃないぞ。何事にも執着せず、何事にも動じず、自分の心の中心に不動の柱を立てて生きるということだ。来るものは拒まず、去るものは追わず、自分の心と命を常に清らかで力強い状態に保つこと。これこそが人間としての最強のあり方であり、本当の意味での優しさを発揮できる境地なんだ。まず、お前さんが今日から直ちに断固としてやめるべきこと。それは嫌われないための努力だ。これをやめなさい。今すぐにだ。ゴミ箱に捨ててしまいなさい。万人に好かれようなどというのは、土台無理な話なんだよ。神様でさえ、悪魔からは嫌われるんだ。歴史上の聖人君子でさえ、石を投げられたんだ。ましてお前さんが、会う人すべてに好かれようなんて、そんな傲慢な考えを持ってはいけない。お前さんがどれほど誠実に生きても、お前さんのことを悪く言う奴は必ずいる。理由なんてない。なんか気に入らない。生理的に合わない。幸せそうで腹が立つ。そんな理不尽で、どうしようもない理由で攻撃してくる人間は、世の中に5万といるんだ。多くの人間はな、自分の心が満たされていないんだ。自分の人生がつまらないから、不幸だから、他人の荒探しをして、他人を引きずり下ろすことで、一瞬の優越感に浸ろうとする。いわば、心の病気なんだよ。そんな連中の感情に、いちいち反応してどうする。病人の上ごとに、いちいち腹を立ててどうする。相手が眉を潜めれば、お前さんも不安になる。相手が怒れば、お前さんも萎縮する。相手が無視すれば、お前さんは一日中落ち込む。そうやって、自分の心の主導権を、他人に明け渡してしまっているじゃないか。それはな、自分の家に泥棒を招き入れて、どうぞ、ここが金庫です。私の大切な財産を好きなだけ持って行ってください。ついでに部屋も散らかして行ってくださいと言っているのと同じことだぞ。お前さんの心の平安という、何億金を積んでも買えない至高の財産を他人に盗ませるな、汚させるな。誰が何と言おうと、誰がどんな顔をしようと、お前さんはお前さんらしく、堂々としていればいいんだ。ああ、この人は今、機嫌が悪いんだな。腹の虫の居所が悪いんだろう。まあ、わしには関係のないことだ。そうやって、心の中で鮮やかに線を引くんだ。それを冷たいとは言わない。それが自立というものだ。大人のたしなみというものだ。いいか、人間関係において最も大切な、残酷だが真実の法則を教えよう。それ悪いは友を呼ぶという、宇宙の大原則だ。お前さんが、嫌われたくないからといって、愚痴ばかり言う人間の話にそうですね、大変ですね、と合わせていれば、お前さんの心の波長は、その愚痴っぽい人間と同じ、低く、濁ったレベルまで落ちてしまう。泥水に清水を一滴垂らしても泥水のままだが、泥水の中に飛び込めば、お前さんも泥だらけになるんだ。そうするとどうなるか。お前さんの周りには、ますます愚痴っぽい人間、陰気な人間、運の悪い人間、エネルギーを奪う人間が集まってくるようになる。お前さん自身が、そういう不幸な人間を引き寄せる磁石になってしまうんだよ。そして、お前さんの体を見てごらん。最近、肩が凝るだろう。胃が痛むだろう。よく眠れないだろう。それはな、お前さんが吸い込んだ悪い気が、体に毒となって溜まっている証拠だ。心と体はつながっている。嫌な人間と無理に付き合うことは、毎日少しずつ毒を飲んでいるのと同じことなんだ。それで健康になれるわけがない。逆にだ。お前さんが、無理な人付き合いをスパッと断ち切り、孤独を恐れず、 自分の魂を磨くことに集中し始めたらどうなるか。最初は人が離れていくかもしれない。あいつは付き合いが悪くなった。ノリが悪い。変わってしまったと陰口を叩かれるかもしれない。だがな、そこで動揺するんじゃない。ビビるんじゃない。それは手放しの時期なんだ。お前さんの人生にとって、もう必要のない人間たちが、お前さんのステージが上がったことによって、ふるい落とされている最中なんだよ。部屋の掃除をするとき、埃が舞うだろう。それと同じだ。一時的に寂しくなるかもしれないが、それは人生の大掃除が行われている証拠だ。コップの中に泥水が入っていたら、きれいな水は注げないだろう。まずは泥水を捨てなければならない。空っぽにしなければならない。ああ。これで掃除ができて清々したと洗い飛ばせばいい。そうやって、一人になって、自分の心と向き合い、常に前向きで、積極的な言葉を使い、笑顔で、颯爽と生きてごらん。淡々と、自分のやるべきことに打ち込んでごらん。そうすれば、必ず、新しい出会いがやってくる。今までの、傷を舐め合うだけの慣れ合いの関係とは違う。もっと魂のレベルが高い。お前さんの本当の価値を理解してくれる人間たちが、お前さんの発する光に吸い寄せられるように集まってくるんだ。野に咲く花を見てごらん。花は、蝶を集めようとして、必死に走り回ったりしないだろう。私を見てくれ、ここに来てくれ、と叫んだりしないだろう。ただ、その場所で、根を張り、太陽の光を浴びて、淡々と、しかし力強く、美しく咲き誇っているだけだ。自分という命を、完全に燃焼させているだけだ。それでも、蝶や蜜蜂は、遠くからでもその花を見つけてやってくる。かぐわしい香りに誘われて、自然と集まってくるんだ。人間も同じだ。お前さんが魅力的な人間になればいいんだ。こびる必要なんてない。お前さん自身が太陽のように明るく、堂々と輝いていれば、周りの人間は放っておかないんだよ。だから、孤独を恐れるな。孤独というのはな、寂しい状態のことじゃない。惨めな状態のことでもない。それは、自分の魂と対話するための神聖な時間なんだ。自分自身を取り戻すための贅沢な休暇なんだよ。わしがこれまで見てきた中で、本当に何かを成し遂げた人間、本当に幸せな晩年を送っている人間は、例外なく孤独を楽しむ力を持っている。彼らは、一人でいるときに、本を読み、思索し、体を鍛え、心を整えている。自分の内側にある泉を、枯らさないように絶えず満たしている。だから、他人と会ったときに、溢れんばかりのエネルギーを与えることができるんだ。だから人が集まるんだ。逆に、一人でいられない人間は、自分の泉が枯れているから、他人の水を奪おうとする。寂しいから構ってくれ。話を聞いてくれ。私を認めてくれ。私を愛してくれ。そんなくれくれ成人になってしまう会う人からエネルギーを吸い取る吸血鬼のような人間だ。そんな人間が好かれるわけがないだろう。そんな人間と一緒にいて楽しいわけがないだろう。お前さんはどっちになりたいんだ。奪う人間か、与える人間か、枯れ態度か、湧き出る泉か。答えは決まっているはずだ。そのためにはまず捨てることだ。勇気を持って不要なものを切り捨てることだ。携帯電話のアドレス帳を見てごらん。その中で本当にお前さんが困った時にすぐに駆けつけてくれる人間は何人いる。お前さんが成功した時に嫉妬せずに心から喜んでくれる人間は何人いる。ほとんどいないはずだ。数百人いたとしても片手で数えるほどもいないかもしれない。大半はただの知り合いか義理でつながっているだけの重荷だ。過去のしがらみだ。そんなものにお前さんの貴重な命の時間を費やすな。勇気を持って断りなさい。今自分は忙しいのです。その集まりには興味がありません。はっきり言えばいい。嘘をついてごまかす必要もない。嫌われたらどうしようと震える心をぐっと抑えて誠実に、しかし毅然と断るんだ。それで壊れるような関係なら最初から偽物だったんだよ。砂のお城だったんだ。波が来れば崩れる。それだけのことだ。偽物が壊れて何が困る。 むしろ偽物がなくなって、本物が入ってくるスペースが空いたんだ。お祝いしたいくらいじゃないか。いいか。淡々と生きるというのは、自分の人生の主人公の座を取り戻すということだ。お前さんの人生という壮大なドラマの脚本家は、お前さん自身だ。演出家も、主役も、お前さんだ。なのに、どうして脇役の機嫌ばかり気にするんだ。どうして通りすがりのエキストラの顔色ばかり見て、自分のセリフを変えてしまうんだ。舞台の真ん中に立ちなさい。スポットライトを浴びて、堂々と自分のセリフを語りなさい。批判する奴がいれば、させておけばいい。おや、私の高尚な芝居がわからないセンスの悪い客がいるなと思っておけばいいんだ。怒鳴ってくる奴がいたら、あそこにも余裕のない、かわいそうな魂がいるな。気の毒にと、心の中で哀れんでやればいい。決して、同じ土俵に乗るんじゃないぞ。ここが重要だ。相手が怒っているからといって、お前さんも怒り返したら、お前さんも同レベルの低い人間になってしまう。相手が泥を投げてきたからといって、泥を投げ返したら、お前さんも泥だらけだ。相手が火のように怒っていたら、お前さんは水になりなさい。静かで、清らかな水だ。火は水には勝てない。相手が風のように騒ぎ立てたら、お前さんは山になりなさい。どっしりと構えた、動かざる山だ。風は山を動かせない。それが淡々と生きるということの真髄だ。柳に風と受け流すんだ。そうやって生きているとな、不思議なことが起こる。今までお前さんを悩ませていた人間関係のトラブルが、嘘のように消えてなくなるんだ。なぜなら、お前さんが反応しなくなるからだ。相手に干渉しなくなるからだ。人間関係の悩みのほとんどは、相手を変えようとすることか、相手に分かってもらおうと期待することから生まれる。なんであの人は、あんな言い方をするんだろう。なんで分かってくれないんだろう。普通、こうするべきだろう。そうやって相手に期待するから、自分の物差しで相手を測るから、裏切られたと感じて腹が立つ。苦しくなる。期待するのをやめなさい。他人は他人。自分は自分だ。親子だろうが、夫婦だろうが、別の魂を持った別の人間なんだ。他人を変えることはできない。お前さんにできることは、自分を変えることだけだ。天気予報を見て、雨が降ると言われたら、お前さんは空に向かってなんで雨なんだ。ふざけるな。と怒鳴り散らすか。しないだろう。そんなことをしても無駄だと知っているからだ。雨か。じゃあ傘を持っていこうと、淡々と準備するだけだろう。人間関係もそれと同じだ。あの人はそういう短気な性格なんだな。じゃあ、火の粉がかからないように適度な距離を保とう。今日は上司の機嫌が悪いんだな。じゃあ、余計なことは言わずに仕事に集中しよう。それでいいんだよ。そこになんで、という感情を乗せる必要はない。ただの事実として受け止め、淡々と、事務的に対処する。これができるようになれば、お前さんの心は、どんな嵐の中でも、常に雲の上の青空のように澄み渡っていられる。これを不動心というんだ。何があっても動じない心。常に積極的で、朗らかで、勇気に満ちた心。これこそが、お前さんが手に入れるべき、最高の宝物だ。金や地位や名誉よりも、はるかに価値のある財産だ。お前さんは、もう十分に頑張ってきた。他人のために、十分に尽くしてきた。誰も見ていなくても、わしは知っているぞ。お前さんが歯を食いしばって耐えてきたこと、もういいだろう。これからは、自分のために生きなさい。自分の魂を喜ばせるために、時間を使いなさい。嫌な飲み会に行っている時間があるなら、早く家に帰って、熱い風呂にでも入って、好きな音楽を聴いて、ぐっすり眠りなさい。気を使う友人とお茶を飲む金があるなら、その金で美しい花を買って飾ったり、とびきりおいしいものを食べて、自分をねぎらってやりなさい。雲の流れを追いなさい。道端の草花に目を向けなさい。自分を大切にしない人間が、他人を大切にできるわけがないんだ。自分を満たしていない人間が、他人を幸せにできるわけがないんだ。まずは自分だ。徹底的に、自分を愛しなさい。自分を許しなさい。そして、言葉を変えるんだ。朝起きたら、鏡の中の自分に向かって、にっこり笑ってこう言うんだ。お前は強い。 お前は運がいい。お前は何にも縛られず自由だ。言葉には力がある。言霊というものがある。お前さんが発した言葉は必ず現実となってお前さんの元に帰ってくる。疲れた。嫌だ。辛い。もうダメだ。そんな泣き言ばかり言っているから、さらに疲れる現実が、嫌な出来事が、ダメになる未来がやってくるんだ。自分で自分の首を絞めていることに気づきなさい。嘘でもいいから、愉快だ。ありがたい。絶好調だと言ってみなさい。無理やり口角を上げて、笑ってみなさい。心と体はつながっている。形から入るのも立派な知恵だ。笑うもんには福来たる。これは迷信じゃない。真理だ。脳みそを騙すんだよ。眉間にシワを寄せて、深刻な顔をして生きるには、人生はあまりにも短すぎる。もっと気楽にやりなさい。肩の力を抜きなさい。深呼吸をしなさい。大きく息を吸い込んで、宇宙の無限の力を体に取り入れるんだ。そして、息を吐き出すとともに、お前さんの中にある不安、恐れ、迷い、執着、そういった心のゴミを、すべて外へ吐き出すんだ。スーッと、心が軽くなるのを感じるだろう。それが本来のお前さんの姿だ。どんなに偉そうな人間も、どんなに金持ちも、最後はみんな死んで灰になるんだ。裸で生まれて、裸で死んでいく。それだけのことだ。何を恐れることがある。何を失うものがある。お前さんには、命がある。今日という一日がある。手足が動く。目が見える。耳が聞こえる。それだけで、もう十分に大富豪じゃないか。無限の可能性を持っているじゃないか。いいか。淡々と生きることは、決して孤独な道ではない。それは自由への道だ。他人の評価という鎖を引きちぎり、世間体という檻を破壊し、お前さんが、お前さん自身の翼で、大空を自由に羽ばたくための道だ。その翼は、もうお前さんの背中にある。ただ、お前さんが飛ぶと決めさえすればいいんだ。さあ、顔を上げなさい。胸を張りなさい。今日からお前さんは、生まれ変わったんだ。過去の弱かった自分とは決別したんだ。誰の機嫌も取らない。誰にも媚びない。ただ、自分の良心に従って、天に向かって恥じるところなく、堂々と、淡々と、そして朗らかに生きる賢者だ。もし、また心が弱くなりそうになったら、世間の風が冷たく感じたら、いつでもここへ帰ってきなさい。わしが何度でも、お前さんの魂に火をつけてやる。わしが何度でも、お前さんの背中を叩いてやる。大丈夫だ。安心しなさい。お前さんの人生は、これから面白くなる。最高に愉快な日々が待っている。お前さんが覚悟を決めた瞬間から、運命の歯車は、音を立てて好転し始めているんだ。それを信じて、さあ、行ってきなさい。一歩、強く踏み出すんだ。お前さんのその足で、お前さん自身の道を、王のように堂々と歩いていくんだ。わしはいつでも、いつまでも、お前さんを応援しているぞ。行け、振り返るな。お前さんの未来は、光り輝いている。
We don't need to tell you about law of attraction. Law of attraction is like the law of gravity. You can't turn it off, and it is always responding to everything you've got going on vibrationally. It is responding to what you've got going on. It equals your point of attraction. In other words, law of attraction is responding to what you've got going on. So for a while, we've been explaining to you that as contrast causes you to know what you want more clearly, and always in the beginning of that knowing what you want, because the contrast has given birth to it, you're not vibrationally up to speed with it. There is this vibrational gap that's going on because law of attraction is now responding to your inner being who is in the vortex, who is lining up all of the cooperative components big time in order to assist you in the full manifestation and realization of everything that you want. And here you are, having whatever thoughts and beliefs and expectations that you had usually before you launched the desire. So there is this sort of duality going on where law of attraction is responding to both parts of you. The in the vortex part of you and the potentially not in the vortex part of you. So You've got this sort of split going on often that feels like frustration or overwhelmment that now it is your job to do something about. And that's why we talk to you all day, every day about the art of allowing, about assessing the vibrational difference between who you have actually become. Are you getting what we mean? Do you believe that when you launch a rocket that your inner being actually embraces it and becomes it? Do you know that when you're sick, vibrationally you're weller? That when you don't have enough of something, that vibrationally you have more of it? That when you're confused, vibrationally you're clearer? In other words, this is the way this dynamic universe and the evolution of all species occurs. So there is this vibrational part of you who is calling you home, calling you home, calling you home. And we want to say to you, you're going. The question is, are you going willingly? Because if you relax into it, if you just let go, if you just acknowledge you've done the work, the isness of the vibrational reality is in place. The cooperative components have already been assembled. They will show you amazing things. You will defy the logic of all kinds of people as this vortex does its work. The question is, where are you in vibrational relationship to it? So we've been talking about this for a while, and many of you have been hearing us for a while. Esther certainly has been hearing it for a long while. And she said to Jerry the other day, you know, it's interesting how in all of this that I've been hearing, I realize that I've still been counting on my action for far more than I meant to. Because in many cases, I don't really have to line up with my vortex because I've got people who can just bang it into place. I'll just call someone and say, this is out of whack. Can you take care of it? And they do. They're really good at wrestling things to the ground. But in the process of that, Esther realizes that she doesn't move her vibration. She just calls someone and they wrestle something else to the ground. And then she realizes that sometimes she can create more brush fires than she has brush fire putter-outers. And then a sort of clarity is beginning to occur to many of you. We've been talking about this vortex. You get it, don't you? Conceptually, it's an idea that you can wrap your thoughts around. And we've been letting you know that there is potentially a vibrational gap between who you really are, which is the done deal, the vibrational doneness, it's done, it's done, it's done, and what you have so far allowed to manifest because of what's going on vibrationally. And Esther said to Jerry the other day, you know, I realize that I've loved the idea of the vortex and I have wanted to be in it as much as I can. So I have been approaching my reality by trying to think the thoughts that make me align with my vortex. Makes sense. Look for things to appreciate. Look for things to bask about. If I find myself feeling negative about something, pivot from it. Say to myself, I know what I don't want. What is it that I do want? Which is a logical approach to lining up with your vortex. But Esther said, this last week or so, it has flipped for me because now I get it that if I let the vortex and what it means and how it feels be all that I'm thinking about, then in establishing my relationship with the vortex, and every day I'm in it many times, if I milk my vortex when I'm in it, if I keep it going when I'm there, if I find myself on a happy thought and I rampage it longer, if I let my vortex be my undivided intention, if I let my vortex be what I'm reaching for, I now get it, she said, that my vortex affects my manifestation. It's a different way of approaching it. In other words, what we want you to gather as a result of the conversation that we're having here today, and as a result of what's going to go on in your lives in the next hours and days and weeks, as a result of what you pick up from this leading edge conversation, what you're going to come to know is that you have complete control over every manifestation that happens in your life if you approach it from inside the vortex, for example. So something happens. Maybe someone walks into your experience and they don't jive with you in the way you would like them to. They're annoying in some way, or they're unknowledgeable in some way, or they're belligerent in some way. They're abusing someone in some way. It doesn't matter. You witnessed it and you're having a knee-jerk response to it. And as you're having this negative emotion, the reason you're having the negative emotion is because you're responding to it in the way that you are. And if you feel negative emotion, it means that your inner being is responding to it in an entirely different way. In other words, what you're feeling isn't about what you've witnessed. It's about your relationship with the larger part of you who's having a different experience. Can you hear that? Because who you really are is loving this obnoxious person, even though you are not. And so the rift that you've got going on is the separation is too strong of word between who you really are and who you're being. So that's a manifestation that happened. This is the thing that we want you to realize. That person walked into your life and you experienced that manifestation. When we talk about manifestations, we know you think we're talking about cars and empires and legacies and books and relationships and all those pinnacle sort of things that you have been thinking of in terms of goals that you're reaching for. But we want you to understand that what manifestations are, what we really mean by manifestation is what's happening now. This is a manifestation. This room, these lights, these screens, this sound, this people, this global audience. This is a manifestation that's happening right here and now. Your relationship with your chair, your relationship with the people you're sitting next to. This is a manifestation. It's happening now. Manifestation. Everything that is happening around you is a manifestation that is evidence of one thing and one thing only: your relationship with your vortex. Your relationship with your vortex. So the fact that this annoying person is there, or this belligerent person is there, is your manifestation, which is simply reflecting back to you your relationship with your vortex. That's all. And that's what's so interesting. Esther nearly fell off the bed, and then the chair, and then the car, and then the bed, and then the chair, and then the car. As these processes have been going through her mind, the thought processes, as she realizes that everything that's happening is a reflection of only one thing: her relationship with the vortex. So, for example, Esther said to Jerry, if I were to do something for you kitchen-wise, in my beautiful new kitchen, what would you like it to be? And Jerry said, I would like oatmeal and raisin cookies. And Esther said, consider it done. So she went to the kitchen, snatched everything out of the cupboard except baking soda, which was not there, because she has never baked in this kitchen before. And so she said to Jerry, I'm on the hunt for baking soda. And Jerry said, you know, I think I saw some in the refrigerator at the guest house, because Sylvia has freshened everything, and I think it's in there, like a freshener thing. So Esther said, I'm on it. So she jumped in the car. Now, their garage is carpeted, which is a little tricky, because on 3 occasions, Jerry has ended up at a restaurant with no shoes on. Because it just feels logical to get in the car from the car. So now Esther jumps in the car, goes through a gate or two, goes to the guest house, steps out into the gravel in her stocking feet, and says, right out loud, can someone please explain to me why I'm here in my stocking feet? And then she tiptoes down the pathway into the cottage and thinks to herself, surely there are a pair of shoes or carpet slippers in the closet. So she walks into the closet and finds herself in very wet carpet. She calls Fidel, and he tells her, as he examines it, that the air conditioner, no one's been in the cottage for a long time, the air conditioner has been running, it's plugged up, and it is draining into the closet. And Esther is saying, now no one needs to tell me why I'm here in my stocking feet. In other words, a manifestation, a path of least resistance. Jerry wants cookies. He wants the kind of cookies that don't have the baking soda. The baking soda isn't in the house, but the baking soda is at the cottage. Esther goes in her stocking feet. Now, you might say coincidence. You might say, oh, that's one way to twist a really stupid story into something meaningful. But what it is the path of least resistance manifestation, because things are always working out for you. You see, things are always working out for you. Esther could not get back over to the house to tell Jerry fast enough. She wasn't even upset that the house smelled funky or that the carpet was wet or that she didn't know what the problem was. She was exhilarated that the universe had delivered to her an answer to a problem she did not even know she had, because things are always working out for her. You get what we're talking about. Manifestations. So, if you are feeling worried about something, what you're going to receive back as feedback from specialists, from anybody that knows, is information that doesn't have anything to do with your reality, doesn't have anything to do with your expected manifestational reality, doesn't have anything to do with anything except it's feedback to how you're feeling. You say, oh, this test or this x-ray or this conversation or this whatever is coming to me is a statement of fact. And we say, we'll give you that, but it's a statement of only one fact: your vibrational proximity to your vortex, period, end of story. So what we want you to begin to watch for, and it will be fun for you to watch, is that if you will hear us when we say that you have the ability to develop a personal and deliberate relationship with your vortex, with your inner being, with the larger part of you, with good feeling emotions, and if you will practice the vibration of it as often as you can and milk it when you find yourself there, so that you become so familiar with the feeling of who you really are, that you will see right before your eyes manifestations reflecting where you are. Personalities of people that you know will shift. Events that have been moving in one direction will shift. You have control. You are the creator of your own experience, because you are the creator of your relationship with your vortex. And when you get that, people will say to you, what's going on with you? Why is it that you defy the odds and you defy the logic and you turn heads wherever you go and things always work out for you no matter what? And you say, or maybe you don't, because some of them are ready to hear it and some of them are not ready to hear it. I am the creator of the manifestation that comes to me, and I can control what happens to me in traffic. I can control where I am when the weather is doing whatever it's doing. I can control the relationship that I have with airline flights. I can control the relationship that I have with my physical apparatus. I can control my relationship with my children and with strangers and with family. Family! I can control my relationship with family, because I don't have to control what they think or what they know or what they do. I have one very simple task. I know that who I really am exists as a loving, expansive, expanding, eternal being, and that part of me is the largest reality that exists. And I have access to the awareness of my relationship with that. And now I've got that down. Everything in my experience is not just working out for me eventually, it's working out for me now. You came into this physical environment with eagerness and certainty and confidence in who you are. You came knowing that you were a part of a greater whole, and knowing that you were a valid and important part of a greater whole. And in that knowing, there was no sense of insecurity, and there was no sense of competition. You had no sense of worry when you were born into this physical experience. You just came as source energy, so thrilled with the physical body into which a part of you would be focused, knowing that that physical you, that little being, that little body housing this larger being would explore and expand and really enjoy your experience. Once you got here, you began interacting with those who had been here a while. And many of them had forgotten all of those things because they had, without meaning to and really without wanting to, trained themselves away from the frequency that is really who you are. And so instead of confidence, some of them feel insecure. And instead of full of love, some of them feel anger and hate. And instead of understanding your value, some of them saw you as little and unknowing and in need of guidance. And many of them guided you from their place of insecurity. And in doing so, you learned that because whatever you give your attention to is a vibration that has the potential, really the very easy potential, of becoming a pattern of thought. A belief is just a thought you keep thinking. And so there is a momentum in the thoughts that you are focused upon, in the experiences that you are focused upon, because law of attraction, this powerful law that manages everything that is in your physical world and beyond, everywhere. Law of attraction amplifies whatever vibration you have within your focus. It's really a wonderful thing when you understand it and when you are able to let law of attraction be what it is and you guide your focus understanding what it is. It would be like being at the top of one of those fantastic hills in San Francisco. Esther was shocked the first time she saw one that people were actually driving up and down them. But it would be like being at the top of one of those hills and forgetting about the law of gravity and the law of inertia and just deciding that you would free your parking brake and take your car out of gear and just give your car a nudge just to see what happens. Because you have a pretty good idea of what's going to happen because you understand this law that is always consistent. It doesn't sometimes happen and sometimes not. Oh yeah, the other day I pushed my car down the hill and it went just a little way and it stopped. It defied all logic. You never see that because the law of gravity is such a consistent law that you've learned to work within it. You just don't do dumb things, usually. And law of attraction, while it's a much bigger law and while it affects you in many more ways than the law of gravity, it is consistent. And what you give your attention to is vibrating. And as you give your attention to it, you begin to practice that vibration until you can get a momentum going. 17 seconds is enough for momentum. Another 17, more momentum. Another 17 seconds, more momentum. You cross the 68-second mark, and you've got enough momentum that your experience is now going to be affected in a way that is noticeable by those of you who are aware of the power of law of attraction and who are conscious of the thoughts that you are offering. So when we began visiting with you some years ago through this format, we talked to you a lot about the law of attraction, wrote a book about the law of attraction and its effect on your thoughts and the subsequent results that you are experiencing as a result of the thoughts that you are thinking and the words that you are speaking. And in time, our conversation evolved more from just the concept and the law of attraction. We began talking about what we were calling the science of deliberate creation, which is thinking deliberately, thinking on purpose, not just thinking by default, not just letting your thoughts roam around, going to the loudest, squeakiest wheel, not watching what's on television because it's there, but choosing what you watch, choosing what you read, choosing who you play with, choosing what you think, choosing what you think, choosing what you give your attention to, establishing your momentum deliberately. And we offered lots and lots of processes to assist you in case you got your momentum going in a way you didn't mean to get it going, because it's a sure thing that the thoughts you think will bring results. And the earlier in your awareness of an unwanted thought with potential unwanted consequence, the earlier you notice that, the easier it is for you to slow that thought or change that thought because the momentum is slighter. You wouldn't want to be at the base of that hill in San Francisco having seeing a car nudged from the top and decide that you will wait at the bottom to stop it. Not a good place to stop the momentum of a car. You want to do it before it really gets rolling. Do it early enough, you can just stand out in front of it. It'll just bump you a little bit. Just bump you a little bit. You'll hardly even notice it. But it won't move beyond you if you catch it early enough. And so that's what the science of deliberate creation was really about. It's really about you thinking on purpose. And then we went on to explain to you the power of your emotions. And that's when it really gets good, because when you begin to understand what your emotions are, that they are indicators that you can feel that are always with you. It's not like a contraption that you have to carry around. It's an indicator that is always with you, that lets you know in every moment the momentum of the thought that you have going in relationship with the momentum of the source energy thought. In other words, your source energy thought is that you are a really good person here with great reason, validated and important and worthy. And when you focus upon yourself in such a way that you say you're not enough, or that you should have been better, or that you've done something inappropriate, or that something is wrong with you, when you compare yourself against others and you come up short-handed in your evaluation of yourself, that feeling that you have in your stomach, that emotional feeling in your emotional center, is your indicator that you've started some momentum that is so contradictory to the momentum of the source that you can feel the contradiction within you. You can feel the split energy within you. You can feel the holding yourself back from your natural momentum. So some thoughts you think take you in a momentum direction. We like to call it the path of least resistance, because you give enough thought to something, you carve out a path to probable futures. Because law of attraction is responding to the thoughts you're thinking. And there is a momentum that says this thought with this momentum is going to bring this outcome. And you can tell by the way you feel if you're going to like the outcome when it comes out. You can tell by the way you feel whether you're going to like it or not. Now, often you are aligned and not aligned. You're thinking of wanted and unwanted. You're weighing the pros and the cons. You're thinking about who you are with love. You're thinking about who you are with disdain. You are appreciating someone. You are complaining about someone. In other words, most people are not very deliberate about the thoughts that they think, and therefore most people don't get a lot of momentum going toward wanted or unwanted. So most people are living sort of placid lives where there are many things they want that aren't coming, and there are some things that are coming that they don't want. But most of you are doing very well because the momentum of who you really are is so dominant. The well-being of who you really are is so dominant. You are pure positive energy here in these physical bodies with such reason, you see. And so then we began talking about how you might utilize your guidance system. You're always blessed, so we don't need to do it now. So then we began talking about your guidance system and how to recognize and utilize it in an effective way. We began to explain to you that when you know what you don't want, you know what you do want. And every time you launch a rocket of what you do want, even with that slightest little bit of momentum, the source energy part of you gives attention to that momentum, gives attention to the momentum of what you want. And the process of the source within you giving attention to the things that you're asking for, not the things you're pushing against, but the things you're asking for, has created this momentum, this path of least resistance that has resulted in this conceptual, it's a reality, but you can't see it, vortex. It's a vibrational reality. It's a culmination of what you've been asking for, and it's vivid and real, and it's where the source within you is, and it's what the source within you focuses upon. So when you ask for more money is vibrationally gathered for you. You can tell by the way you feel whether you're a vibrational match to what you've gathered or whether you're pushing against. There are two ways you can feel. One is you can feel it through your emotions. The other is you can notice what's unfolding for you. Because what you think and how you feel and what manifests always matches. You are a wonderful group of humans on this planet today, leading edge like has never been before. And you're asking with stronger emphasis than ever before. And you've created a vortex, a vibrational reality that has the potential of manifesting in your experience in such wondrous ways, collectively and individually. But you have got to figure out a way to be a vibrational match to that part that you've been asking for, that source is in complete agreement and focused upon. Because it doesn't matter how much source focuses upon who you really are and all of the details of life that you have carved out. You are the creator of your own reality, which means you are the synthesizer of your vibration, which means you've got to find vibrational alignment with what you've been asking for before it can flow into your experience, before it can be realized by you in a way that you can see it and hear it and smell it and taste it and touch it, and others can see it in your experience as well. And so we began talking after the vortex conversation. We began talking about the grid, your point of attraction. So you've launched these creations, and source is with them, focused upon them, maintaining the vibrational integrity of them, keeping them alive, keeping them going, and keeping law of attraction responding to them so that your dreams are growing. And now you have to figure out how to be in the vibrational frequency of what you've been asking for, or it cannot be realized by you. So that's where we're at these days. All of these topics, the law of attraction and the science of deliberate creation and the astonishing power of your emotions and the magnificent vortex that has been gathered, are all represented in full form in books out there on the counters, because each of those phases of the evolution of your understanding has been documented for you so that you can find your way through it if you want to. But today, what we want to talk with you about is your point of attraction, where you stand right here and now. What are you letting in? Because you've sifted and you've sorted and you've launched lots of rockets, and Source has seen and ridden those rockets and is retaining the vibrational integrity of them. All you've got to do, and we really mean that in that sense, all you've got to do is find somehow, some way to stop doing that thing that you do that keeps you from being a vibrational match to what's in your vortex. For a while, we were saying to you, just get in the vortex, get in the vortex. And of course, you can't get in there unless you're the same vibrational frequency, because the vortex just spits you out. It's happy. If you're not, off you go. It's abundant. If you're feeling lack, off you go. It's clarity. If you're confused, off you go. In other words, you've got to do something in order to meet what you've been asking for. You can't demand it. Your parents sort of trained you a little wrong. When you're demanding with your parents and they finally give in because they can't take it anymore, they do you a big disservice, because they show you something that the law of the universe will not show you. You've got to be of the frequency. You have to be a match to your desire. You cannot be a match to the absence of your desire and have your desire flow into your experience. You can complain all you want. You can picket all you want. You can demand all you want. You can make others feel guilty about the absence of wonderful things in your life all you want. But what's really going on is, without exception, well-being is flowing to you steadily and constantly. And you got to figure out how to let it in. And you can tell by the way you feel, whether you are or whether you're not.